Again, let the dog build, and then the dog reacts. And then they go, I need to stop this. Oh no, right? It's like seeing some smoke, and then the flames, and then boom, the whole structure is on fire. And you go, oh, we should probably do something about this. That's exactly what it's like when you're trying to stop leash reactivity when the dog is reacting. And you will find yourself extremely frustrated, and you will find yourself failing every time if you are doing this thing. And this is what every dog owner does when they call me for leash reactivity. Actually, guys, before we get into this, I want to give a huge shout out to my friends over at We Feed Raw, who delivers my dog's food directly to our door. It's not ultra processed. You don't have to get it construed from these little tiny pieces of dried up kibble that have been heated down and all the nutrients are gone. Refeed Raw sends an ultra fresh food, the opposite of ultra processed, directly to your door. You guys can save 50% off your first order by clicking the link below because you guys watch and listen to the No Bad Dogs podcast. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the No Bad Dogs podcast. My name is Tom Davis. I'm a professional dog trainer, and this is my second YouTube channel. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on my second channel. We're doing behind the scenes travel vlogs, all the podcast content, and then pretty soon it's not going to be shared on my main channel. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications. Today, we're going to be talking about something that I have spent literally the last 13 years of my life studying and trying to figure out, and it's going to be dog reactivity. Now, I have an online academy that I work with dog owners every week, and one of the questions I got yesterday sparked a nerve. It's not a nerve in a bad way, but it really just made me think, okay, how do I break this down even more than I have before, which is leash reactivity? And so the question was, hey, Tom, my dog is reactive on the leash towards other dogs. Or sometimes it'll come across, my dog is reactive towards other people on the leash, towards random people, whatever. How do I stop this? Now, of course, that's like calling a mechanic and say, hey, my car won't work, fix it. It's like, what is it? Is it the radiator? Is it the engine? Is it the transmission? Is it the starter? Is it the fluid? Is it the gas? Is it the oil? I mean, there's so many different possibilities. And so it's a bit of a loaded question when you say, how do I stop this? But I think that the main thing I try to tell people is you have to understand where it's coming from, and you have to really audit what you're doing. Now, what a lot of people do is they try to put out a blazing fire with a little squirt gun, pew, 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 like this. So the biggest problem dog owners make outside of not having the foundation, and what that means is, if you don't have a good heel command, which is walk nicely on the leash, if you don't have a good leave it command, those two things, you're not going to be successful with your dog reacting to anything on the leash. Those are the two skill sets you're going to be asking your dog to do instead of X, Y, or Z. So if I tell you to walk nicely on the leash, they're not going to be lunging, they're not going to be pulling, they're not going to be reacting. If I tell you to leave it, if the dog does break the heel for whatever reason, you're going to say leave it to the dog's going to come back and say, okay, I'm not going to do that. Now, again, what people make the big mistake of outside of that is timing. Timing is the most important thing in this conversation of leash reactivity. So what a lot of people do is they get the dog on their side like this and they go into a heel. The dog is heeling, or let's say you don't have heel. If you don't have heel, let's just pay attention. Let's just focus right now. But the heel is important. If you're out for a walk with your dog and they're next to you, or even if they're in front of you, if you don't have a heel, the dog loads, their chest comes up, their ears perk forward, they see the thing, whatever the thing is, dog, person, squirrel, chipmunk, deer, whatever. Now, some dogs react dogs react so many different ways for so many different reasons. I have another podcast and a video on that. This is about your dog loading and then you all of a sudden going, okay, what's going to happen? You get closer, or the dog or the person gets closer, and then all of a sudden the dog reacts. Now, when the dog reacts, this is when you, the dog owner, tries to put out the fire. And this is the big problem. So again, talking to that client on my online academy, they said, yeah, as soon as my dog reacts, I can't stop him. It's like, okay, well, understand that you're already 10 seconds, 10 steps too late in this war with your dog, if you will, or the war on reactivity with your dog, right? And again, guys, I'm an expert in leash reactivity. It's what I've dedicated my whole life to. It's the only thing that gets me up out of bed. I love it. It's not something that a lot of people are comfortable with, but it is my favorite thing to work on. It's just what my passion is dog behavior, aggression, specifically leash reactivity. Now, when I see these dogs react, people, again, let the dog build, and then the dog reacts. And then they go, I need to stop this. Oh no, right? It's like seeing some smoke, and then the flames, and then boom, the whole structure is on fire. And you go, oh, we should probably do something about this. That's exactly what it's like when you're trying to stop leash reactivity when the dog is reacting. And you will find yourself extremely frustrated, and you will find yourself failing every time if you are doing this thing. And this is what every dog owner does when they call me for leash reactivity. Tom, my dog won't stop. Okay, so let's just take a step back and talk about this. Now, your dog is hopefully in a heel. Again, you're already in a good shape, and a more realistic approach here when your dog is in heel, which means don't pass my leg. You're in heel. We're around people. We're around other dogs potentially. You need to pay attention, right? Like holding your kid's hand. Like if you're in a big city, you go to New York City, chances are you're not going to let your little kid just wander off and do whatever they want. And then all of a sudden there's a road, there's a car, there's a taxi, there's an Uber. Oh no, come back. It's already too late. You need to control that thing that you love and that you care about way before the thing happens. So we could call it being proactive, but for me and my clients and my training style, it's just reality. We need to make sure that we have all of our ducks in a row so we're safe, and that we know that when we hit some sort of adversity out there and we hit some sort of chaos or life throws something at us, like a person or a dog off leash, we're already in good shape. So your dog is in a heel. If you have a reactive dog, and again, even if your dog is reactive out of excitement and just overstimulation, or if your dog is reactive out of aggression or fear, your dog perks up. Boom. This is your first line of defense. Your dog perks up and goes, hey, there's another dog. So here, and again, this is important too, because you really want to throw the kitchen sink. That's what I tell people all the time. It doesn't matter if you're a chef, if you're a martial artist, if you're law enforcement, if you're EMS, if you're a doctor, if you're a surgeon, if you're a computer analyzer, it doesn't matter. When you're trying to work on a problem, you want to be able to flip through 10 different things. Okay, that didn't work. What's next? Okay, that didn't work. This always works. Let's try this. Grab me this. You're switching, and it's seconds, okay? So, and it depends on your dog, right? Like if you have a giant protective dog and you go, hey, don't look, don't care, not going to happen, right? You have to do more avoidance. You have to do more, hey, we're going to come over here. I want you to do this with me. I want you to do this for me. Pay attention to me. I call it constructive avoidance. So it's not just avoiding by going, it's like, hey, come, sit, food, good, down, good, food, you like this? The dog is, it's a lot of economics, right? The dog is like, I like this food and I'll do the behaviors, let the dog pass. Not every dog is going to do that. There's many dogs out there that I've worked with, that have been through my hands, that do not give a crap about that food. So that's kind of a different conversation for a different episode. But my point is you're out with your dog, they perk up. Boom, first line of defense. Okay, my dog is interested. My dog has a history of being reactive. A lot of people, unfortunately, deal with dogs who have redirection issues, which means the dog redirects and bites them. I've had that with my own personal dogs in the past. Sometimes it's genetics. Sometimes it's just lack of good timing. Sometimes it's letting the dog escalate too much without doing anything. Excuse me. So, and as you guys know, again, on this second channel, it's very raw, very uncut. So we're not cutting out any of the things. So dog perks up, you do your inside turn, okay? So you turn inside to the dog, you go the other way. Now think about it. I am the dog and I'm looking at you, and you guys are the distraction. You're the dog, you're the person. I'm locked in on you. That inside leg comes and we go back the other way. So immediately it diffuses the situation, immediately. Now, granted, some dogs may flip their head back around and go, wait a second, right? That could happen. But for 50% or more of dogs, you do that inside turn, boom, it de-escalates that build immediately. Right, so again, you start to see a little bit of smoke in the fire. Boom, you throw a gallon of water on there, distinguishes it. Right, so extinguishes it. maybe I don't know. So you do that inside turn. Now your dog, I handle my dogs on my left side. So you're going to take your left leg, you're going to turn a 180 the other way. That doesn't mean you're going to walk away the other way, although you could. It just means as your dog builds, think about it like a pot of water that's boiling. I hope that everybody out there has done that before in their life, right? So that water is boiling because of that heat, right? The heat is the cause, the other dog is the cause. The moment that you take that pot of water off of the heat, the water goes down immediately, right? Cause and effect. So as your dog is built, ooh, there's a dog. Ooh, boom. Leg comes in, you go the other way. Okay, right? Let's go this way. So those little tiny turns are huge for dog owners. And I have this in my Leash reactivity course. If you guys are interested, I'll leave it in the description if you want to dive even deeper. But that is an immediate first step. So again, I'm not going to say, oh, my dog's upset, my dog's interested, my dog's reactive, my dog is doing something. I'm just going to keep going. Let's just see what happens. That's why you're failing. Use that left leg, turn inside, and say, hey, we're going to go the other way. Now, again, a lot of times what I do is I try to make me or my client the thing that gets the dog interested in us, right? I become this engaging magnet. I want you to come with me. I want you to work with me. Don't be boring, right? A lot of people, their dog goes, ooh, there's a dog. And we just go, and we just look at the dog, or we say, hey, no. So what you don't want to do is when your dog starts to build up to potentially react or has a history of reacting, we go, oh, it's okay. It's just the mailman. It's okay. It's just the neighbor's dog. It's okay. Don't do any of that. I promise you from the bottom of my heart, it is making it 1,000 times worse. Don't ever baby talk and try to reassure your dog when they are in a suspicious state of mind going, hey, who is that? What is that? And they're going, it's okay. It's just, no. Okay. You bring your kid into the doctor's office to maybe get their first shot or do something that may be uncomfortable for them or whatever, right? And we go in, we go, it's okay, it's fine, everything's gonna be okay, right? Look, it's just a doctor. The doctor's nice. You know, doctor, this. Everything's gonna be fine. And after this, no, do not do that. If you want to make things worse, do that, right? It's just like sitting somebody next to you on the plane. They're nervous. You're nervous. It's okay. It's just the plane, right? What's that noise? Did you hear that noise? Is that supposed to happen? Ding. Hey, pilot. No. Do not do that, okay? Don't do that. And you're making things worse. When you're out with your dog, you want to be confident and you want to be silent with all the talk, right? So your dog perks up. You do that inside turn. That's step one. You go back a couple feet. Maybe you do a drawback recall. And the idea here, guys, is to get the dog on you and try to avoid the other dog. Now, again, that constructive avoidance is important, especially when you live in environments where you can't control what other people are doing with their dogs. So the constructive avoidance is essentially, I did this the other day with my son. We were walking down kind of a busy street in my town here, and there was this homeless person on the other side of the road yelling at some other homeless person over here, and they were swearing and used profanities. I don't want my 3-year-old to hear that. So I'm just moving him along. Let's go, buddy. Hey, boom, let's go. Let's go, right? I'm moving him along, right? I'm almost protecting him from what's going on, right? That's that of constructive avoidance. I'm not avoiding having my 3-year-old understand what's going on. It's constructive for me to avoid that situation because it's inappropriate. And, you know, for you and your dog, it could potentially be dangerous. So just know that when we're avoiding these other dogs, I'm not saying don't fix it, don't handle it, don't correct it. But what I am saying is the first line of defense when your dog perks up and you're starting to see that fester, do your inside turn and move the other direction. And then when you move your other direction, if that works and you got some food and you do your focus command or you squeak your no bad dog squeak pouch, my treat pouch has a squeaker built into it. Bang, the dog looks up at you. Yes, bang, you pay the dog. And all of a sudden you backpedal and you scoot the other way and the dog comes running at you and you pay the dog. Now the dog's laser focused on you. So you just went from this mundane, go pee, go potty, enjoy your outside walk to this really engaged movement to let the other person or let the other dog go by. So that's the first line of defense. Now, as you move on, when you're starting this reactivity process and what I call dismantlement, that inside turn is big, right? And even if you have to go inside and then back, inside and then back, and kind of just pop back and forth, keeping the dog on you, it's a great thing to do. Now, the other thing that you can do, depending on how reactive your dog and depending on how explosive your dog is, and depending on how quickly your dog goes from ears perked up, chest popped up, to then bang, lunging, barking, growling, flipping up at the leash, etc. But sometimes if you can get a sensitive enough dog, you can certainly correct them out of that behavior. But in most cases with reactive dogs, they're reacting out of fear, they're reacting out of instinct, and it's tougher to correct dogs out of that natural state of mind just because they're serious about it. They think it's them or me, or again, if they have the primal instincts to be this big protective dog, that's what they live for. So you're not going to be able to correct them out of that. And in fact, especially with the big, powerful, more the genetic disposition to be protective, right? You could even get redirected on. And I know that that's something that I've dealt with, and I've seen it with other dogs in the past. You can create more damage than good if you just say, hey, knock it off. But it is an important piece, right? Especially with a dog who is adolescent that's starting to develop some sort of reactivity. I see it a lot when I'm walking in my neighborhood and they're just being jerks. The dogs are like, the owners talk to their dog constantly. The owners have zero training. The dogs do whatever they want when they want. That's an issue because your dog's just being a jerk. Plain and simple. It's not that your dog is fearful or your dog is anxious or that your dog is just reacting because they're frustrated and they have zero accountability for any of their actions ever. And they're being brats and they're being jerks. That happens all the time. So if you have a dog that's like that, where they're just going, there's a dog, what do we do? Like you correct it, you say, hey, knock it off, quit the crap. Meaning the reason why they're reacting has no weight to it. There's no seriousness to it. There's no emotion behind it. They're just reacting because they're jerks. They want to do it, right? They don't have anything else to do. Their relationship with their owner is completely cooked, makes no sense. We're over communicating, and it's the dog is just like, get out of here. So they get really frustrated because they don't feel attached to their owner at all on any level except for the leash. And then they feel the leash and they go, dude, just let go, get out of here. Like, you know, I'm not saying the dog doesn't love them. I'm just saying the dog has no connection with them whatsoever, which is extremely common. And so as you guys are working through this with your dog, you can absolutely just correct your dog the minute they as long as they have a history of being reactive. We're not correcting our dogs for being suspicious. We're not correcting our dogs for looking at another dog. That would be ridiculous. All we're doing is if our dog has a history of ears perked up, chest pumped up, and then we react, you have a sequence there. You have a conditioned sequence that every time your dog does this, they end up doing this bad behavior. So if we can correct the dog the moment that they distinguish this trigger, I'm going to do this and I'm going to bark and growl and snap and go crazy. Make your life stressful and the dog's life stressful. You can successfully and certainly appropriately correct your dog if that's the sequence. Growl, bark, load, perk up, reaction. Correct it when you start to see it. There's nothing wrong with that. And the reason why I'm saying about the different types of training and the types of reactivity is because in most cases, you're either going to make it, you can make it better, if you correct the dog, again, when they're just adolescent and they're being a jerk or they're just excited, you can say, hey, no, inappropriate. That's not how we behave, okay? You see your buddy or you see a person and you're excited, you do not leave it, heal, right? You're stopping that before it ends up, because what happens is, guys, and again, this is just a subjective to me. I don't want my dog, and I know I've worked with thousands of clients and I've helped millions of people online. They don't want their dog to get to the end of the leash, pull them down, jump up in the air, bark like crazy, because then when they go out, it's anxious. They don't like going for walks with their dog. I've had people just say, oh, I can't control my dog. You just please pass. And it's like, you're just getting by and it's dangerous, right? Because you may have an aggressive dog. You may have a reactive dog and their dog is just reacting like a complete idiot because the owner doesn't have control. So when you start to see this stuff, correct it immediately. No, we don't do that. That's inappropriate. It'd be just like a kid starting to do something that I do it all the time with my kids. They just start doing this because they see it at jiu-jitsu or they see it at, whatever. And I immediately shut it down. Nope, that's gross. Don't do that. We don't spit at people. Same thing, right? Like inappropriate stuff that is just done because, whatever. Like you shut it down. Correct it immediately. No, we don't do that. Same thing with your dog. Use your leash, correct the dog and say, hey, we don't do that. Okay? But again, you have to have good skill sets on the leash. So you have to have a good heel, you have to have a good leave it, and then even then you just have to have good impulse control, right? So if your dog is excited to see their friend or see another person, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not telling the dog to not be excited. We're simply telling the dog, don't act like an idiot and pull me down and make things dangerous. It's that simple. You bring your kids to Disney World. We don't tell them don't get excited. We just say you have to hold my hand to be safe. Period, right? This is just critical thinking skills, guys. This isn't anything nuanced. So don't be afraid to do that, okay? If your dog is acting like a complete idiot, let them know that that's inappropriate and you don't want to see it through a correction. That's what corrections do. We go through life living and dying with corrections in our life every day, from the day we're born to the day we die. That's how we live, through this correction balance, right? To make sure, is this right? Is this okay? Blah, 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 okay? So the other thing is just making sure as you guys are going through this, we have that inside turn, diffusing that reactivity immediately. We have the correction to say, hey, quit the crap and keep moving. But I think what gets overlooked a lot is when the dog does get reactive, right? Like say your dog has a really short fuse and they go from 0 to 100 like that, or there's an off-leash dog, or there's a person running all of a sudden. And whatever the reason your dog is reactive, a lot of people don't know how to put out that fire when the dog actually explodes. So inevitably, even if you do the inside turn or you use the correction, I've worked with plenty of dogs who that doesn't do anything, they're still going to explode. Now for me, depending on the size of your dog, depending on the size of the dog that you're handling, a lot of times I just avoid. And I'm a professional dog trainer who have been, again, working on this for so long. I have no problem getting and creating space if my dog is just innately, genetically wired to be this big reactive dog that I can't control no matter what, because it's just who they think they are. And I've worked with plenty of dogs out there like that. It's okay to also create space and just let them go by, like if you have that option. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people that live in bigger cities and things like that, they cannot create that space. It's like they're walking through a haunted house all the time. And so my suggestion for those people is to really make sure that when you go out with your dog, again, you have to have that inside turn. You have to have the fundamental leash pressure. But those foundations are really, really, really important, okay? So again, if you go out and you ask your dog to heel and leave it and down and stay and all that stuff, you're going to be really helpful. But some tips for you guys, if you have a dog that just, you do all the right things and everything, fires off anyway, there's definitely some tips here, which we're going to talk about. So when you go out with your dog, make sure that they're motivated, right? So again, when we work on a currency or an economics playing field with dogs, and that's all we're doing all day long, no matter what, right? Dogs are going out, and if you say, hey, I got a piece of food, with a look command, they go, oh, give me food. But then there's a squirrel, and that squirrel means more than your food, you're screwed, right? But you have to make sure that you're trying to make yourself have an advantage when you're out with your dog. So when I go out with my dog, I bring especially if it's a dog who's reactive. If I'm going out with a dog who doesn't care about anything, I don't bring anything because I don't need to. But if I'm going out with a dog that has a history of being reactive, this is what I want to talk about, is the tools that I'm using, okay? I have my treat pouch, which has a built-in squeaker in it. I have my No Bad Dog nubs, which are beef liver, right, which most dogs love. I have my training leash, and that's pretty much it when I go out. Now, and whatever collar you're using, whether you're using a slip leash or a prong collar or an e-collar or even a flat collar, whatever tickles your fancy, right? You have to go out and you have to utilize those tools on time. So if I have a reactive dog, I'm not feeding my dog breakfast. I'm going to make sure they're super hungry. If my dog loves the toy or the tug or a ball or a frisbee even, I'm tucking that under here and I'm playing with the dog for a couple seconds. I'm agitating the dog and I'm tucking it back in and I'm moving out for my walk. And the dog is sitting there salivating, waiting for that toy to be distributed again. And those are some really helpful tips when you go out with your dog. If they're reactive, is basically go out, keep them hungry, and keep them engaged with you. If they're toy motivated or if they're object motivated, bring that out with you. So many people are like, same thing in the house. People like, my dog's jumping on people in the house, barking at people in the house, doing all the bad things in the house. I'm like, put the leash on. And they're like, it's like this profound thing for whatever reason. I don't know why, but same thing when you're out for your walk. Bring your treats, put your treat pouch in, bring your toy, bring your dog's favorite thing when they go out. That'll give you a bigger advantage, because you got to think, if your dog is sitting inside all day long and they're not doing much, and then all of a sudden they're just pent up, you just got home from work or you just woke up and you're bringing them out and they're like, woo, like I get to go outside. Like they're going to be balls to the wall the whole time, and they're going to be pent up, and they see another dog and they're going crazy. Like you have to make sure that you're at least having the right equipment and setting your dog up for success by keeping them hungry. So at least you have some fight in the game where they go, oh yeah, you know what? I'll take the food over this. But if you feed them, that's not as valuable, right? If I just eat a huge meal and somebody says, hey, I'll give you a cheeseburger, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't want that. That's not interesting to me. I'm already full, right? Same thing with that toy. The other thing is that I always suggest to people, depending on how severe your reactivity is exercise is really important. So if you can get your dog to exercise before you go out for that walk, before you're going to be around other people on that walk and having to be social, you can do that. Now you maybe scratch your head going, Tom, that doesn't make sense. I'm going to walk my dog for that reason. Of course, we're going to inevitably run into people during trying to blow off that steam. Well, let me tell you something. There's many things out there that you can do to drain the tank before you go on that walk to get your dog at an even keel base, right? Indoor treadmills, bang, there you go. Indoor treadmills. You can put 5 miles on your dog, tongues hanging out before you go out for a walk. You go out for a walk, your dog is going to be significantly less reactive because they've already drained the tank, because most dogs who are reactive are just overly stimulated. They've sat inside all day. They haven't done anything for 6 to 8 hours, depending on how long you sleep or how long you're going to work. And then they're just a really reactive dog by nature, depending on the breed. And they go outside and they just blow up after everything they see because they're over. Oh my God, this is wonderful. I've been sitting inside all day. Hey, you, come over here. Hey, mailman. Hey, other dog. It's just this crazy mess. You drain their tank, boom, indoor treadmill. I mean, well, Tom, guys, these things are this wide, and you just got a small dog. Anybody can fit an indoor. I don't care how big your apartment is or your house is. You can get that, right? If you have a yard, right, and you say, I really like walking my dog. I like training my dog out on walks, but they're reactive. Again, another tip: go into your backyard, drain your dog before you bring him out for a walk. Get a bike. I've done this with many of my personal dogs. If I have to travel somewhere and I know that, the dog walker isn't going to do what I do, the best I can do is drain that dog at least for that day, or at least for that, that night or whatever. I get a cheap old bike off Craigslist. I'm going out and I'm draining that dog, right? I'm in a cul-de-sac. I'm in my backyard. I'm doing everything I can. Play Frisbee with your dog. Play Frisbee, play fetch. Keep a long line on your dog if your dog isn't off-leash trained. So there's many things that you can do. So starting back from step one, make sure your timing is appropriate with your corrections. Make sure your timing is appropriate before your dog explodes. Do your inside turn to diffuse the situation before it becomes this entire El Fuego flame and your whole structure becomes on fire. Don't wait for that to happen to go, oh, maybe I should put this thing out. Don't do that. And then the other thing is, again, secondly, is just don't be afraid to correct your dog when they start to build. Hey, quit the crap. I know what you're about to do. Don't do it. We don't do that here. Thank you very much. And then the third thing, and the huge tip for you guys, is if you have a reactive dog, especially on the environment that you live in, which is nothing you can control typically, there has been people who have moved because of their dog or because of the breed you have, where you're like, man, this is just how my dog is, genetics, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing you could do about that, right? No training, no amount of money can change that. Then do everything you can to exhaust that dog at all costs. Make sure that your dog is as tired as they can. So when you do go out for that walk and train, your dog is at an even keel. I know for a fact, even today, if I've had a little too much caffeine and my anxiety starts to peak and I start redlining, I know I'm going to go into the gym. I'm going to get that out of my system. I'm going to go into the cold plunge. I'm going to release that dopamine. I'm going to go train jiu-jitsu. I already know if I'm already getting to that level, I know what I need to do to release some of that and bring me down to base so I can think clearly and be less anxious and be less reactive, if you will. So guys, hopefully this was helpful for y'all. I appreciate every single person watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on my second channel. If you're following me on Spotify, make sure you hit that follow button. It means the world to us. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Peace.